This right here is a custom e-bike sporting Electric Bike Report's own logo and colors. And that logo is no slapped on sticker, that is baked in and part of the paint job. This is a really cool e-bike. This is the Electric Bike Company Model R. Let me tell you all the different ways you can customize it in this review. So as a quick heads up, our YouTube subscribers are always the first ones to hear about any of our e-bike giveaways that we have going on. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure you do, and don't forget the notification bell as well so that you don't miss out. All right, so the Model R here is pretty impressive. There are 3 really awesome facts worth going over in greater detail before we dive into the performance. So first things first, anytime you buy any Electric Bike Company bike, you have a ton of options for giving it the look that you want. Now, when you buy the Model R specifically, you're largely buying it for the larger frame, the easy step-through access, the standard suspension fork, and the 750 watt motor. From there though, it shares the limitless customization all Electric Bike Company bikes have. You can pick your choice of nearly 30 different standard colors, or you can even look at one of the upgraded metallic color options. But that's only the tip of the iceberg. You can actually reach out to Electric Bike Company and send them basically any color you can find, and they'll be able to match it and put that on the bike for you. That is seriously, seriously cool. And the paint isn't just for the frame either. You can get color added to the fork, to the rims, to the basket liner, and the rear rack. You'll also have different options for black or brown on the saddle, the grips, the tires. And then for companies, you can even get your own logo baked into the paint as well to showcase that corporate branding. And then to fully complete the look, you can even customize the colors on an Electric Bike Company helmet, down to having the logo on there again too. All of this is pretty much one of a kind when shopping in e-bikes and is seriously awesome. Now that brings us to my second customization point, making the bike ride and feel how you want it to. So this is where things will get a little bit tricky for me as a reviewer later on, because you can easily change the look and feel of your Model R. So while ours is decked out as a classic beach cruiser, yours could have mountain bike handlebars with sport fenders, giving it a different vibe and experience altogether. The best way to cover this is honestly for you to go take a look for yourself, so I'll leave a link in the video description where you can see all of the different customization options, but I'll try and cover some of them in here. Basically, you can upgrade the size of the battery, the drivetrain, swap out the wheels for some smaller ones, add on a tech package. It's really astounding the amount of tailoring that goes way beyond most options you will find online, so it's pretty unique in that regard. The third and final thing worth highlighting is the fact that this bike is made in America. Okay, so the frames and a lot of the components are actually made overseas and shipped over here, but the bike is painted and assembled in California once they get those raw frames sent in. With all of the different ways you can customize the Model R, they brought as much as they possibly could in-house, from assembling the battery packs to truing their own wheels. It's interesting in general that there is this level of stateside involvement, but it actually has a few customer benefits as well. Since they go over every inch of the bike to assemble it and get it ready to ship, Electric Bike Company has one of the best warranties you'll find anywhere on an e-bike. 10 years on the frame and on the motor, with 5 years for the battery. Now for reference, 1 to 2 years for those things is usually what we see, so that's really good peace of mind to have. And since they have a mechanic perform a final safety check before getting ready to box up the bike, you get a bike that is ready to ride upon delivery. The Model R arrives needing only a few adjustments before it's ready to hit the streets. Now before we can dive into the performance side of things, let me give you a quick lay of the land on our particular Model R. We have a 750 watt motor that runs off a 576 watt hour battery. We have the 7-speed Shimano drivetrain with a 14 to 28 tooth range on the cassette, paired to a 56 tooth chainring up front. The tires are the Electric Bike Company custom Rhinoceros tires. They're 26 by 3 inches with premium puncture resistance. Now the front spring fork has 80 millimeters of travel, and the custom Electric Bike Company saddle is one of the most padded you will find anywhere. We have the optional Electric Bike Company rocker style seat post suspension, which when you add the seat post suspension, the saddle, the fork, and the tires, it makes for a crazy cushioned ride all put together. The brakes are one of the very few things that you actually don't have an option on, but that's because it's a better set of brakes anyway. The Tektro Dorado 4-piston hydraulic brakes on 180mm rotors are pretty good here. As far as accessories go, our bike is decked out with most of their optional upgrades. We have the low-profile fenders, the front basket with 60 pounds of carrying capacity. We have this rear rack with the MIK quick mount compatibility, and the upgraded tech package as well that gives us brake lights, turn signals, a high and low beam headlight that is paired to an automatic sensor, and even an electric horn. So finally, let's take you through the cockpit. We have the handlebar, the 27-inch classic beach cruiser style one that includes a thumb throttle on the bike as well. And in the center here is the color LCD display, which I like for its wattage readout, and it's pretty easy to see in general. Now, again, there's so many ways to customize the Model R that you'll have to go check it out for yourself. But for right now, let's move on to talk about how performance was on our test bike. Our first performance test took a look at the Model R's stopping power. To do this, we rode the bike up to 20 miles per hour before braking, then measuring the distance it took to stop. After running this test 3 different times, we had a stopping average of 19 feet and 9 inches. That's really impressive. Similar beach cruisers we've tested tend to stop closer to 23 feet. Now, what I found really interesting as I took a closer look at the comparative results was the Model R was actually amongst the heaviest bikes on that list, but all the others had either 2-piston hydraulics or mechanical disc brakes. So the superior stopping power here was clearly on display, and I liked that it comes standard on the Model R. Now, I want to give you a sense of what the speed of the Model R feels like. So let's take a ride together so I can show you. All right, so this is the speed test for the electric bike company Model R. Right now pedaling around without any motor assistance, going at about 10.8 miles per hour, 11 miles per hour, bouncing around between there. Let's go ahead and kick the motor on, see what that does. So as I turn the motor on, it does not actually help at all. So this bike has a wattage readout showing 0. That's because PAS1 seems to be programmed to help you up to 10 miles per hour, but where I can pedal beyond that, that's why we're not seeing any difference there. Let's go ahead and move into pedal assist 2. You can hear that motor kick on, start to hum to life, giving me a little bit more help and earnest there. So going about 13.2 miles per hour, making it a little bit easier on me. I'm able to change gear. Yeah, holding right there feels pretty good though, 13.4 miles per hour. Move over to pedal assist 3. I'm getting a lot more wattage now. It's going up to about 200 watts or just below, it looks like. Able to take me up to 16 miles per hour. It feels pretty good there. Go to PAS4. You can see the wattage increase going up to 320, 30. It's helping me get to 18 miles per hour. 18.4. Seems like a pretty good spot for this one. The motor does a good job of giving me a nice gentle kind of like push from behind, but I'm still able to pedal and keep my legs engaged on the 7-speed drivetrain here. Then, last but not least, pedal assist 5. Yep, 20 miles per hour. And then the motor kind of backs down. It pushed me up over almost to 500 watts there, and then backing down. Now it's just trying to help me maintain that 20, giving me 100 to 200 watts. Yeah, it's actually, for a Class 2 e-bike, it's got very good distinct levels of pedal assist. Very easy to control. Right, the 0 to 20 speed test for the electric bike company Model R. And just remember, it doesn't matter what pedal assist you're in on this bike. You got to go into the PAS5 to get the full speed and full 20 miles per hour. So, ready, set, go. There we go on the 0 to 20, and then 20 on the other one as well. Nice. All right, so just to recap really quickly, thanks to the optional 7-speed drivetrain here, I was able to pedal pretty comfortably at 11.4 miles per hour. No motor help, no problem for me. Now in PAS1, it is designed to help riders get up to 10 miles per hour, but since I was already able to pedal beyond that, I didn't see a speed increase, and I once again had 11.4 miles per hour in PAS1. Now from here, you can see a fairly consistent level of programming and motor capability as I hit speeds of 13.2, 16, 18.3, and 20 miles per hour in the remaining PAS levels. PAS3 was where I found myself personally riding most of the time. It's nice for just kind of taking in the ride and just enjoying being outside. I'm rarely in a rush on a beach cruiser, but you can get going faster if you'd like. And while we tested the bike at Class 2 speeds, you can bump things up to allow for a 28 mile per hour speed as well. But you may encounter a little bit of ghost pedaling at those higher speeds due to some of the limitations of the 7 speeds gear range. Now, one takeaway from this test, I feel like the motor did a good job of dishing out speed. The acceleration felt appropriate at each PAS level I was in, as it gets slightly more aggressive with each number you increase. But it's still manageable in general. I always appreciate the feeling of a motor not only ramping up your top speed, but your acceleration as you go, so you just feel like you're in more control of the ride. If you're trying to hustle, or if you're trying to just enjoy a pleasant cruise, you can really pick your option. Now, I was pleasantly surprised at the result of our range test. The Model R has 4 different size batteries to choose from, and our test bike was sent with the standard 576 watt-hour one. And since it has a 750 watt motor, I wasn't expecting any crazy long rides. But the results that we got go on to show that it's better to test things out yourself instead of just try to eyeball it based purely on numbers. So in our first range test in PAS1, the bike was able to go 41 miles at a fairly mellow cruising pace. In our max assistance PAS5 test, we were able to get 18.5 miles at a much faster commuting pace. Now, the range was better than I was expecting with that 18 to 41 miles there, and that's enough to cover most people for at least a day. But if you want, you can easily increase that. You can upgrade this to a 672 watt-hour battery for a few $100s more, keeping things housed in the frame here, or you can take dramatic leaps in battery capacity, bumping up to 1,008 or 1,440 watt-hours when you add on a second battery, which also comes with that front basket attachment since they put it in the bottom of the basket there. Now, that represents anywhere from a 17 to a 250% increase in the battery's capacity, so you can add serious mileage if you want to make sure you can go a couple of days or maybe even a couple of weeks between charges. Overall, the Model R here is a pretty capable bike, both in terms of how you can outfit it and enjoy it, and of course, just in plain old helping you get around. To see what it can do on even extreme hills that you might encounter, I'll pass it over to Justin, who rode this bike up our infamous Hellhole Trail.
Okay, so I'm on the Electric Bike Company Model R, the rear hub motor, doing the throttle only test. Just kind of sitting back and cruising. You know, I love the comfort of these bikes, as a side note. But anyways, as far as the hill test goes, feeling pretty decent, going down to 8 miles per hour through this steep section, down to 7, 6, 5. This next section here, usually if we make it past here, there's one more section up here that's a little challenging. So definitely not cruising up this hill, but again, I'm on throttle. I'm on a laid-back cruiser, so I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, that this doesn't fly like a bat out of hell up a hill, but we'll see how this goes. The motor, not very loud. Again, that's kind of common when you're not going as fast, but I'll kind of be quiet through this next section so you can hear what the motor sounds like as we are going up this next little, last punchy steep section. You're not really hearing the motor much because we're getting down to the limits of our test here. I've got decent balance, which helped this out for sure. We got down to 2.6 miles per hour. I think we are going to finish. It's not going to be, off the chart score, obviously, but just as a note, this is a pretty steep hill. And to just make it is pretty impressive. And I actually don't love it, again, with like a beach cruiser style bike. If I see bikes flying up here 20 miles per hour, that would feel a little bit overpowered. But we'll see what the test results kind of tell us on this one. All right, back on the Model R, now doing the pedal test. And so we'll kind of see how it does if you're in Southern California climbing up a big hill. This is pretty steep. So down about 11 miles an hour, 10, You know, again, I'm not pushing very hard. This is kind of like, you know, been at the beach all day and just have to pedal home up a steep hill. So 8 miles an hour. So definitely doing better with pedal assistance on, you know, max assist than it did on throttle. And this next section, I'm going to let you listen to the motor so you can hear it. You can hear it a little bit more now that I'm going a little faster. So there we go. So yeah, so the motor's actually fairly quiet. Definitely hear it though. Hear it as I pedal faster versus slow. That last section got down, you know, again, 8, 9, 10 miles an hour. So pretty decent. You can definitely climb up hills on this one. You don't have to pedal a ton. And it's kind of like if you get the right cadence, it does a little better. So there we have it. We'll see what the test results show.
So the official times Justin posted on the hill was a throttle time of 2 minutes 21 seconds with a 7.7 mile per hour average. It's nice to see it made it up the hill, but that is one of the slower times of a bike that was able to make it to the top. With some legwork, we had a much different result though, as Justin got to the top in 1 minute and 32 seconds for an 11.8 mile per hour average. That's a pretty solid result. As always, we're happy to see a bike make it to the top in both attempts. Where the PAS test to me showed that the bike can definitely deliver the juice to get you up a bit quicker, I would be okay with seeing the throttle's programming change just a bit to allow for a little bit more hill climbing power to get you across the finish line a little more easily. Now from my experience climbing up hills, I thought the Model R did a good job. I do think it's worth adding the 7-speed drivetrain for a bit of pedal power into hills. The standard single-speed drivetrain could be a little bit limiting, requiring you to ride in a higher PAS most of the time. So I think the 7-speed drivetrain is a worthwhile add-on. There was a definite overall feel to this bike, so let's head out one more time on the Model R to talk about it. So one of the words that comes to mind anytime I'm riding an electric bike company bike is comfort. It's just something that they hone in on and make possible on all their bikes. So just remember, as I'm describing the ride on this one, most of the components and features I'm going to talk about are optional. You can swap them out for something that better suits you, but I want to at least explain and detail what led up to the ride quality on our test bike. So this is a classic beach cruiser style e-bike thanks to this mustache handlebar here. It's got a very generous sweep that comes back to the rider. It's on an adjustable stem and I've got it pretty upright. I wanted a fully straight back experience and it's really nice, you know. Straight back posture is good for me, so I like what this has to offer. The frame itself caters to larger riders in general, but it's still got that nice easy step over frame, so it's easy to hop on for just about anybody. But you know, even like the theme of the bike, like are for rugged, these 26 by 3 inch tires, the Electric Bike Company custom Rhino tires, they're really nice. Just help you feel large on the road. It's got good enough width that you feel nice and balanced, and you know, they lean into corners very well. It's the type of thing you could cut across some pea gravel and sand and be okay. It's not something I'd maybe want to make my full-time off-road tire. I like something with a chunkier tread pattern for that. But again, I'm talking about some of those comfort elements. Up front, there's an 80mm suspension fork on this bike, combined with Electric Bike Company's extremely thick and plush padded saddle and the optional suspension post that I'm sitting on. It just, a lot of bumps you would definitely feel on other bikes. You just kind of register them on this bike. You know, the shock doesn't hit your body too much. It keeps you very comfortable for longer rides. And then let's finally conclude with the motor engagement. The motor does a good job of responding and kicking on very quickly. Cadence sensor comes standard. You can upgrade to a torque sensor, but one of the things I like about the display here, it does have a wattage readout, so you can see how many watts you're using in any given pedal assist, but it even has this little word assist here that pops on when the motor is in use. As soon as I stop pedaling, it goes away, so it's very responsive. And overall, it's just got gradual acceleration. You know, it's the type of thing, even if you put it in PAS 5, it'll get you going to higher speeds, but it doesn't necessarily, you know, overtake the rider at any point. It's something very easy to work your way up to. It's kind of right in the middle of quick and more gradual, so I think it does a good job of threading the needle. Now there is just a lot of comfort on this bike, and thanks to the various factors like the size of the frame or your pick of tire size, it can fit riders from 5 foot up to 6'10". Now I know I'm sounding like a bit of a broken record here when I say something customizable on the Model R is cool, but Electric Bike Company lets you pick your type of motor engagement via either a torque or a cadence sensor on this bike. And yeah, that is a pretty cool option. Some prefer a more natural ride feel, while others want a motor that engages more easily to help with the heavy lifting. And picking that for yourself is pretty cool. There, I said it 3 times. And then one final potential ride quality enhancement comes from this optional MIK rack right here. You can pick different bags, racks, baskets, all that equip quickly and easily on this system, meaning you can potentially get a lot of use out of this bike for heading into town, knocking out a grocery list, or heading to and from class in style. Overall, the Model R was a blast. It has a lot of appeal as the standard options give you a very comfortable ride with great safety. It has a big and robust look to it while also being easy to ride thanks to the step-through frame and the fun motor. I think riders will be able to appreciate how nicely this will ride from point A to point B, and if you spring for the upgraded batteries, points C through R with stops at all the letters in between will be doable on a single charge. There's all the customization you could reasonably ask for without starting your own e-bike brand and designing a model from the ground up yourself. If you want something with a signature look and ride, this is a great option. If you click the link in the description, you can play with the build tool yourself and see just how many options exist for you. And if you order one, you'll be able to ride it in a matter of days as it ships fully assembled right to you. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this review helpful. For whatever questions you have, leave us a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Again, I'm Griffin with Electric Bike Report, and I'll see you on the next review.